Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to our Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally, and I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and the various groups from around the world subsequently. We are steadfast on our topic of oneness, and on this day, date today? 27th. On this day, 27th of March 2022, the Russian and Ukrainian conflict continues, and it is these conflicts which is current and which have occurred in the past that bleeds my very being. These conflicts have no real bearing in humanity. And if there is a school where you can learn who you are, and if all the religious leaders embrace humanity simultaneously, then you will understand my pain. And it is for this reason that at the Sri Narayan Dham we have stepped out of the comfort zone that most of the gurus preach from, and we have taken an impossible mission which is slowly taking shape and becoming possible. And that mission is our mission for oneness. It is important that we not only hear the word oneness, we must also indulge our consciousness in this dimension, and we must start practicing oneness. Currently, I have stated last week, and I want to continue for the purposes of record of this discourse, the Kashmiri files have been released, and again I dread if this turns into more animosity than that is currently prevalent in Bharat. Again, if everyone involved starts learning what their true identity is, then this would not have happened 32 years ago. And 32 years later, it can be reconciled and understood without any animosity. So it is imperative for religious and spiritual leaders not only to preach in the comfort zones, but to come out in the real world and get involved in the activities of human. So we need to ask ourselves every so often who we are, where we come from, what is our purpose here, and where we are going. So if you ask this question to my chairperson, Vishwadhar Ramanujadas, what you think his answer will be, Amita? Jessica? Vishwadhar, he can start commenting himself. The question is, who am I? Where did I come from? What is my current status? And where am I going to from here? This is not a physical question. This is a real question. And if you can ask yourself this real question, and if you can seek for real answers, then you are utilizing this body for the purpose it was created. I have stated numerously that here at the Sri Narayan Dham, everything is simple, and everything must be 1 plus 1 must give you 2. Not 12 minus 2 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 4. Simply 1 plus 1 must give you 2. When 1 plus 1 gives you 2, what is your emotion? What is your feeling when you add 1 plus 1? How much of stress have you got within yourself from adding 1 plus 1? How much of energy is used by your brain and your mind by adding 1 plus 1? How much? But if you do a negative or you do a subtraction until you reach 2 from 1,000, how confusing it is. How much of energy it takes you. The answer is the same. The answer is the same, but for you to do subtraction from 1,000 to get the answer 2, and for you just to add 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, what is the status of your mind? You understand it? So at the Sri Narayan Dham, I'm teaching you in the dimension of 1 plus 1 equals 2. We are very simple. For a human who is involved in material consciousness all the time, we need to fix the mind in a certain state so that it can assimilate and understand these discourses. And for that reason, we've had these beautiful bhajans rendered today. You enjoyed the bhajans? You got into the bhajan? It means you surrendered. I saw everyone shaking. I saw everyone in another mood, in another place. It means your mind got detached from everything that it is attached to in this world. When you are listening to the bhajans, your mind was arrested like how a policeman arrests you and lodge you into prison. Your mind was handcuffed and arrested. You lost your freedom, yes or no? You forgot who you was. It is that conducive dimension that we put the mind into, so that when a preaching takes place, then your mind is in a state that can absorb that preaching. But the preaching have to be in simple, logical terms. You must understand the preaching and you must take a message home. You must take a message home. So we are asking the first question, who am I? And how many of you heard Shravan's bhajan just now and enjoyed it? The last bhajan. Put your hand up, Shravan, let everyone see who you are. This last bhajan, how many of you enjoyed that bhajan? He doesn't understand one word that he sang. He doesn't understand one word that he sang. You heard his tones, you heard his levels, you heard his scale, you heard his pitch. He is my son. He has never practiced a bhajan in his life because he has no time to practice. He's either working or watching movies or with his friends. He got no time for practicing bhajans. He has never spoken in Hindi in his life. Never spoken a Hindu word in his life. But he is singing bhajans with expression. And Hemita puts him on TikTok. So he's gone famous around the world. And people from other parts of the world will think he's the Guru's son and he is proficient in Hindi. And because he's a Guru's son, then he has his own bhajan group and practices every day so that Sunday he can give off his best. In fact, this entire bhajan group is disjointed. Everybody is from somewhere else. They have never practiced together. They come here on a Sunday and they fall into sync. How is this possible? How is this possible? How is it possible that Shravan sang? How is it possible that this bhajan group do not exist as a bhajan group? Individuals come on a Sunday, they place themselves with relevant instruments, and they do what they have to do. But when you closed your eyes and you was enjoying this bhajan, it was perfect, was it not? Because it was perfect, you were enjoying it. So we need to understand the significance of what I'm asking you. Who are we? And what is the purpose of this body that we are wearing today? What is the purpose of an aeroplane? Senior J. Now we have 2 J's. I don't know which J looks senior, but I'm referring to that J in the back. J, he looks like your Nana.
The purpose of an airplane is to transport you from point A to point B.
Uniquely through the air. What is the purpose of a submarine? Point A to point B under ship. You want to say a few things, Dana? Okay. But it's coming from your phone. And if you want to go by land, you got the train, bus, and cars. Yes? What is the purpose of these vehicles? Medium of transport. So if you create all these transports and you don't utilize it for the purpose, what will happen to the transport? Okay, I'll give you another example. You put nice chrome magrams in your car, sunroof, everything else, and every day you get up and you shine your rims. You drive your car, you shine your rims. You drive your car, you shine your rims. And you don't service the car. Is there any logic? No logic? So what is the purpose of the body? Is the body a vehicle? Yes, it's a vehicle because it can transport you from point A to point B. So what is the purpose, unique purpose of a human body? Animals got bodies too, isn't? Which animal you want me to describe? Vishwadhar? Which animal you want me to describe? Donkey, all right. You eat? Do you eat?
Yes.
Does a donkey eat?
Yes.
You have children?
Yes.
Donkey have children?
Yes.
You live in a house in security?
Yes.
Donkey finds a shelter and lives in its own security? You sleep? Do you sleep?
Yes.
Does a donkey sleep? So what's the difference? What's the difference?
Donkey doesn't have intellectual.
So you have
Intelligence.
intelligence. For what purpose?
Lead a good life.
You have intelligence to lead a good life. And that is the greatest illusion. In fact, a donkey lives a better life than you, Jai Bhai. Donkey got no stress. Donkey does not go to a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Donkey does not care what its children do. Donkey don't have to educate its children. Donkey got no anger against another donkey. Donkey got no hatred against another donkey. Donkey is not jealous of another donkey. The donkey has no pride. And a donkey has no envy. Look how peaceful a donkey is with no intelligence. Human got intelligence, but it got all these vices: anger, hatred, jealousy, pride, envy. So where's the better life? I had 2 donkeys in the backyard. Now they're living in a farm. 7-star treatment. We're supposed to take a trip and see how they are living. They're living in a farm with every meal provided. Jai Bhai, explain the better life with intelligence. Who is living a better life, the donkey or humans? Who? Donkey is living a peaceful life. It does not think of its next meal. Does it ever think of its next meal? What it thinks of? Nothing. It lives through instinct. It lives through instinct. You try to live through instinct, how glorious your life will be. Reality check. You're a human. If you think you got that intelligence to go to university, to get a degree, use that intelligence to build big blocks of flats, beautiful bridges. Look at what is happening to the intelligence of Ukraine at the moment. What's happening to the bridges? What's happening to all those buildings that took years and years to build? Millions and millions of whatever the currency is in Ukraine or Russia. In one split second, Russia is bombing these things, and all these buildings where intelligence was used to build, they are all getting obliterated. Where is the intelligence in that? Where is that intelligence in that? For how long were those buildings utilized? Are you understanding? Civilization, technology. How intelligent is that, Jay? How intelligent is creating a cell phone? What is helping all of man's creation in Ukraine today? What is helping Ukraine when they get bombarded? Every advancement in technology, what is helping them today when they get bombarded? 4G. Is 4G helping them? You understand? We can create all these things with our intelligence, but it is not permanent. Ukraine is showing us that it is not permanent, and whatever we create can be destroyed. Is Ukraine showing us this or not? Is Ukraine showing us that whatever is created 5 months ago, it was a bustling country, was it not? It was the bread basket of Europe. It was the bread basket of Europe 5 months ago. A few weeks ago, India gave it 90,000 tons of grain. The bread basket became barren. So where is intelligence? Jai Bhai?
Our intelligence is destroying ourselves.
Yes, because that intelligence is misplaced. That intelligence that this human body is endowed with must be used. The human body is a via medium for understanding who you are. You have to take that intelligence and ask yourself, who am I? Then you have to use that intelligence to find scriptural injunctions that tell you who you are. Intelligence is there. The scriptural injunctions are there. Once you know who you are, nothing can destroy you. The only reason you are getting destroyed timelessly is because you don't know who you are. If the Ukrainian president knew who he is, and if the Russian president knew who he is, there would be no war in Russia and Ukraine. The reason there's a war in Russia and Ukraine is because these two presidents don't know their own identity. And when you don't know your own identity, how would you know the identity of someone else? So right at the outset of the Bhagavad Gita, there is the Ukrainian and Russian war. Bhagavad Gita opens up in a war. Exactly. The story is almost the same. Ukrainians and Russians they have the same ancestors. Cousins are fighting cousins. They have the same ancestors. But because they do not know their real identity, look at where the war has escalated. And who is suffering? I'm suffering here in South Africa. Because now I have to pay 2 cents more or 2 rand more for bread. I have to pay 2 rand more for petrol. I have to pay 2 rand more for cement. Ashram is busy in construction. They are fighting there, I'm affected. Yeah, personally, in my personal capacity. Yet I got nothing to do with that. Wow. You understand how important it is to know who you are. And as soon as all of us understand who we are and why we are here, what will happen to all the animosity that's around us? There will be no animosity. Yes or no? So this is what we at the Sri Narayan Dham, this is our mission we are embarked on. Back to basics. Back to basics. It is of no use teaching you everything else if we're not teaching you what your identity is. Because without your identity, every other knowledge that you get is useless. Is useless. All of you understand? So who you think you are? Jay, Senior Jay, it's your day today. You are the soul.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't believe you because when the Guru from India was here 2 years ago, you went and bought a brand new outfit. You dressed with your best jewelry because there was a Guru from India here and you wanted to impress the Guru with your clothing. And soul does not wear clothes. So I don't believe you. And if we pull out the photographs, in this satsang 1 + 1 is equal to 2. That means I must have that evidence. And if I pull out when the India Guru was here, Sita never looked more beautiful or more better adorned. And she's attended over 200 or 300 satsangs here. But she only dressed exquisitely for the India Guru. So how can you be the soul? This hall was full. As soon as I invited people, I said there's a Guru from India here. This hall was packed. People came from every corner. Sita, what I said, is it true or not? I got videos and photos, Sita, and living witnesses. So we always say we the soul. The soul is mentioned in the Vedas. The soul is mentioned in the Torah, the soul is mentioned in the Bible, and the soul is mentioned in the Quran. Yes or no? Mentioned all over. But do we understand what the soul is? Do we understand what the soul is? So I want to explain that in the next 10 minutes. You think it's possible? The soul is the life principle within the body. All of you experienced it. This is not very, very hard. 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Not very hard. All of you have experienced it. You saw somebody that knew that was alive. Then when you went to that person's funeral, you saw the same person there, the same body there. And you saw it dead. You saw it alive, you saw it dead. And even if that is your parent or grandparent or great-grandparent, as soon as you got the message that that person is now dead, automatically you cut that name off from your language, don't you? Don't you? If you're phoning, you'll say, what time? You won't say, what time is Mum's funeral. You won't say, what time is Mum's body coming back. You will immediately switch off and it becomes the body. Yes or no? So the name is lost immediately after the life principle leaves the body. Yes or no? Who taught you to do this? When you was born, as soon as you started talking, did somebody teach you that when somebody dies and when you are in that conversation, then you must stop using the name and refer it to the body? Who taught you? Which school taught you that? Which parent taught you that? No one. So it is your innate nature. Innate nature means what? Again, Senior J. Innate nature means your very essence. There's no difference between that nature and you. Innate nature means your very essence. You understand? So your innate nature, your very essence, is it your body or is it the soul? The soul. So you need to understand what are the designations of a soul. How many types of souls you get? How big souls are, how small souls are, how fat souls are, how thin souls are. Mama, what do you think in your estimate? How big is an elephant soul? Think an elephant has a soul, Sita? Every living entity has a soul. Every living entity has a soul. It is the living principle in that body. Living principle in that body. If you peruse through the internet, this is how easy everything is today. you can catch a guru out. You can catch a guru out. If the guru is lying, you go on the internet. You can go on the internet, Wikipedia. But Guru's Wikipedia is not in the internet. Guru's Wikipedia is called the Vedas. Guru's Wikipedia is called the Vedas. The Vedas is a program that God inserts within Himself as the super computer. As the super computer. And that program creates this universe. And that program creates this universe. This Vedas simply means knowledge. So if you're referring to the Vedas in English, it means knowledge. Vedas in English means knowledge. It's not a Hindu scripture. It's not a Hindu scripture. It is knowledge. Knowledge for who? Knowledge for who? For all of mankind. Knowledge for all of mankind. In fact, there is no religion called Hinduism. There is no religion called Hinduism. This concept only came in the 1900s. The formality of Hinduism only came into being in the 1900s, and not by those people that's living in Bharatvarsha, but by the West. The West created this religion called Hinduism, but the word Hindu was first spoken by the Syrians or Muslims that lived across the river Sindhu. The river Sindhu, because of their language and the inflection of their tongue, they could not pronounce the word S. They pronounced the word H. And they called the people living across the river Sindhu Hindu. That stuck around until the West took that terminology and formalized it into a religion in the 1900s. All of you understand? There is no such thing as Hindu or Hinduism. Are you shocked? Are you shocked? See how many things you don't know. See how many things you don't know. You practice through tradition. You practice through tradition. I heard people saying, I'm a staunch Hindu. Iqbal, I'm a staunch Hindu. You know what I mean? Anyone a staunch Hindu here? Premila? Premila is a staunch Hindu. All of you understand? The right terminology is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma. Hinduism, known formally as a religion, 1900, Sanatana Dharma prehistoric. Sanatana Dharma prehistoric because Sanatana Dharma is the program for the universe. And I'll just give you one example before I stop this topic. Are everyone enjoying this topic? Then you'll have to be here next week for part 2. I'm learning from the movies and from the soapies. All right? So there is a mockery from various people if they see the Guru going down. We got a lane here called Tulsi Lane. You'll be going just now when you're doing your parikrama. We got a lane called Tulsi Lane. You see the Guru taking a lot of water and dropping it on the Tulsi leaf. Many people will mock this. Many people will mock this. But this is Sanatana Dharma. And this is why I'm saying Sanatana Dharma is prehistoric. All right? So let's examine this now. What do you know of a Tulsi plant? What do you know about the sun? And what do you know about water? And what do you know about your eyes? These are the 4 things that you need to know and research. Okay? So when you take a lota of water and you face the sun, why do you use a lota made of copper? What is the relationship with copper and water? You need to find out all these things. You ever saw the Guru taking a polystyrene cup and giving water? Or a glass? Guru will always use a lota because there is a relationship between brass and water. There is a relationship between brass, water, and your eyes. There is a relationship between brass, water, and the sun. And there is a relationship between brass, water, and the Tulsi tree. And there is a relationship between brass, water, the Tulsi, and yourself. So when the Guru drops the water, his eyes must not be closed and he must be mumbling, "Please God, I want that car next week. Please make sure I get that car. I'm dropping water for you. So many years I'm dropping water. I want that car." Eyes closed. No. Eyes must be open. And the water must be dropped in between your eyes and the sun. The sun's light, the spectrum of the sun has 7 colors, the rainbow colors. That colors must permeate the water and enter your eyes. And when it enters your eyes, it strengthens your sight. It strengthens your sight. You give water in the morning to the Lord, not for ordering. Jaibai, how many orders you made through your life? 2 J's I'm asking. You can answer spontaneously. So all you give water is to strengthen your eyes. If a Muslim gives water facing the sun in a lota, is it irreligious? If a Christian gives water facing the sun, is it irreligious? Are you understanding what Sanatana Dharma is? When I said Sanatana Dharma is inserted in God and the universe is created And that is created for all of mankind. So recently, I was involved in a court case and we did a Facebook posting. And there was a Christian gentleman who we were involved with, but I gave him a platform to express Christianity where there is nothing wrong. So somebody commented, can you go and do a Hawaiian in the church? So I'm a Singh, former Singh, now I'm Acharya Sham Ramanuj. A Singh has thick fingers. All right? And those days, or any time you see so-called Hindus fighting outside, and if you just check their fingers, you'll know they are Singhs, all right? Because warmers. By structure. All right, Jay? Sorry you're not a Singh. You understand? No, not for that. It's hard for me to type on my phone. So it's hard for me to comment long stories. So I could not explain why and whether Christians will accept Hawaiian in the church. But what is the significance of Hawaiian? First, let's look at all the ingredients in Hawaiian. What ingredients we use in a Hawaiian? So say if I had to do a Hawaiian here now, I'll use ghee, water, Hawaiian samagri, wood, camphor, clove, ghee, all these ingredients mixed, put into a fire. What will happen to all the insects that's troubling us? Ants. What will happen to the virus that you all came with, busy breeding here in Mahashram? Huh? What will happen to all that virus? It will cleanse the atmosphere, it will cleanse your system inside, and it will get rid of all the unwanted insects and rats and all of that. Remember our days, our grandparents' days, when they used to use cow dung on the floor? You ever saw ants around? You ever found insects pestering? They did Hawaiian every Fridays. Once a week they cleansed. You understand? So Hawaiian is not a Hindu ritual. It is a ritual for humanity. Hawaiian is a ritual for humanity to clean the atmosphere, clean themselves biologically, and rid themselves of insects and bacteria and all of that. You understand? So we debunk two myths today. I'm going to continue debunking myths that are associated with Hinduism. These are not myths. These are absolute science. So I'm taking out the word Hinduism. I'm replacing it with Sanatana Dharma, and I'm taking out God as a magician. I'm taking out God as a miracle, and I'm replacing God with being the absolute scientist. You all agree with me? If God created this universe, and if this universe exists as science, then he has to be the absolute scientist. Yes or no? All of you understanding? A scientist must be within his creation. Where you must find the scientist? In the lab. Must you find the scientist in the lab? Can the scientist be somewhere else, far away? Only when you close your eyes, you can imagine him somewhere and the lab be here. Scientist and the lab must go hand in glove. Scientist and the lab must go hand in glove. So, this is how we're going to teach God to you. This is how we're going to teach this universe to you. And you think it's the 1+1 way? You think this is the 1+1 easy route to God? Yes. This is your shortcut to God, where you don't ever have to close your eyes and believe God is very, very, very far away. God is closer to you than you think. The only job the Guru has is to take one wire from God and one wire from you and put a connector. Vasan, you got enough connectors? Alright? Vasan put a connector and he put resin last week for my lights. He put resin and he guaranteed me, Acharya ji, there's no water that can interfere with this connection. But Ravana came and still blew the connection. It's blown. If you go switch my lights on now, there's no lights outside. Alright? So, when the Guru connects, only when the Guru connects, or the Maulana connects, or the pastors, or bishops, or rabbis, then the connection is insulated. And you can have a direct talk to God. No more you have to close your eyes and imagine God somewhere. That can't be God. That can't be God. God won't create you and be somewhere. God will create you and be accessible to you. Will create you and be accessible to you, provided you know who you are. If you don't know who you are, when you lose your memory, what's it called, Khatija? Amnesia. It's called amnesia. When you are in amnesia and you don't know who you are, will anybody believe you if you tell the person who your father is? Huh? Why? And this is why I am saying that once you know who you are, there'll never be Muslim-Hindu fights, there'll never be Hindu-Christian fights, there'll never be Christian-Muslim fights, there'll never be Jew-Muslim fights, because at the moment they don't know who they are. And that is why the fights are taking place. When God gave this universe religion, did He give man religion for peace, or did He give man religion for war? But what has man done with religion? There has been more deaths through religion than any other type of death put together. Do you know that? And can you see why it is necessary for this mission to be spread across the world as soon as possible? Can you see why it is necessary? All of you understand? Jai Sri Narayan.